They believe investigators can catch the 2 remaining Orleans jail escapees within the next few weeks.
Gabby Killett looks at where this investigation stands nearly a month after it started.
Derek Groves and Antione Massey on the lam nearly a month after they broke out of the Orleans Justice Center with 8 other men on May 16th. Deputy U.S. Marshal Brian Fair says getting the men back into custody is just a matter of time.
I would like to think it would resolve itself within the next couple of weeks.
He's confident, even though marshals moved some personnel off the manhunt.
We've had a surge in manpower. At one point, we brought in a lot of extra resources. We can't sustain that because we have other missions as well. We have other fugitives we have to capture.
Other federal, state, and local partners are also working on the case, but only Louisiana State Police responded to our questions about how their response to the investigation might be changing, saying the agency is committed to pursuing every lead until all fugitives are returned to custody. Unlikely law enforcement will stop its search effort, though many agencies begin to scale back around the 1-month mark. Like Fair, Jackalone says he's confident investigators ultimately will recapture both Massey and Groves.
I think eventually they'll catch these guys. I mean, if you told me that these were like mountain men who, grew up in the mountains and they were able to, avoid all this stuff, I would be a little more concerned, but they're not.
The remaining inmates who broke out of the Orleans Parish Justice Center is nearing 4 weeks. All new at noon. We've got a new message from the New Orleans Police Superintendent. Today, Chief Ann Kirkpatrick spoke directly to Antione Massey, saying that if you want to surrender, they have arranged a defense attorney for Massey, and will have that attorney ready for the moment that that person surrenders. Well, as you know, both Massey and Derek Groves are on the run right now after breaking out of the Orleans Justice Center with 8 other inmates.
NOPD Chief Ann Kirkpatrick is offering the remaining 2 jail escapees a deal, a safe way to surrender.
The deal includes the promise of lawyers waiting to represent each man. So how innovative is the offer? WGNO's Rick Gogrieve is here with the story. Rick.
Susie and Kurt, Chief Kirkpatrick said that no time is better than now for the 2 remaining escapees to turn themselves in, guaranteeing a safe return if they did. However, would what Kirkpatrick is saying actually hold any weight for the 2 men? It sounds like a simple offer by Chief Ann Kirkpatrick. Peacefully surrender now and receive a public defender.
We've arranged for a defense attorney for you. We have an attorney for you. And you will have him ready from the moment you surrender.
According to Orleans Public Defender's Communication Director Lindsay Hortenstein, her team has already offered and agreed to be present if either of the 2 surrender and request a lawyer. However, WGNO's legal analyst Cliff Cardone questions the impact of this, as the inmates would already have a right to a lawyer under the 6th Amendment.
There's really no incentive for him to turn himself in on the basis of her statement alone, because he's entitled to right to counsel.
Also, while Chief Kirkpatrick says she'll be able to have an attorney ready the moment Massey or Graves surrenders, Cardone argues that it might not be that fast due to the court being the entity to appoint public defendants following an arrest.
And it's after an inquiry. The court delves into whether or not someone has sufficient assets and income to provide for a private attorney. That is never prearranged.
Overall, Cardone believes this is an attempt to make Massey and Groves feel more comfortable about turning themselves in.
She's probably trying to placate him and let him know that this is not going to be a police intervention where we shoot it out with you. We're going to let you turn yourself in, and we're going to do this very civilly, and we will have an attorney ready to represent you.
Now, according to the Orleans Public Defenders, if Massey is to surrender, the lawyer they claim to be offering him will likely not be the same lawyer that was representing him for his prior charges, given the potential new charges. Susan Kurt?
Very interesting. Whatever works, right?
Yo, 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 it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in as we is now 32 days in since the manhunt began after New Orleans 10 escaped out of the Orleans Justice Center, and they all got caught. 8 of them, except for 2, is still on the run. And now it seems like to a bit of desperation by the people trying to capture them. And I had a link in the description where you can watch the clips of the beginning in full from Fox 8 New Orleans, WDSU, and WGNO, as they are now offering Antione Massey a free public defender to represent him if he turns himself in, a free lawyer. But when I heard that hit the news the other day, I said, man, hold on, bro. Don't he get a public defender either way, no matter what happens, whether he get caught or he stay on the run or anything? That's already pushed out there to him, to my knowledge. According to Orleans Public Defender's Communications Director, Lindsay Hornstein, her team has already offered and agreed to be present if either of the 2 surrender and request a lawyer. However, WGNO's legal analyst, Cliff Cardone, questions the impact of this, as the inmates would already have a right to a lawyer under the 6th Amendment. There's really no incentive for him to turn himself in on the basis of her statement alone, because he's entitled to right to counsel, Cardone said. Also, while Chief Kirkpatrick says she'll be able to have an attorney ready the moment Antione Massey or Derrick Groves surrenders, Cardone argues that it might not be that fast due to the court being the entity to appoint public defenders following an arrest. It's after an inquiry the court delves into whether or not someone has sufficient assets and income to provide for a private attorney. That is never prearranged, Cardone said. Overall, Cardone believes this is an attempt to make Massey and Groves feel more comfortable about turning themselves in. She's probably trying to placate and let him know that this is not going to be a police intervention where we shoot it out with you. We're going to let you turn yourself in and do this civilly and have an attorney ready to represent you, Cardone said. And when it comes to Derrick Groves, he's already been found guilty of murder, and he was waiting to be sentenced at the Orleans Justice Center. So this is really not even applying to him when it comes to the legal representation. But because he's somebody that's still on the run, they mentioning their names together. Well, like, you can turn yourself in safely right now. And they said that they do pull back on the search efforts after a month. They said a lot of the resources they was using, they are now like pulling back on that, because I guess they saying, hey, bro, it's cost a lot of money, and we put a lot of time into this now, and it's like, hey, we can't really sustain the amount of money we spending every day, man hours, to go after and search still. But I'm pretty sure, well, we know Derrick Groves saw this and was like, nigga, I'm not turning myself in. He already know he waiting on sentencing for the murder charges he got, and I mean the murder convictions he got. Antione Massey still fighting cases, but they telling him free public defender. He's gonna get time guaranteed for running unless he can be found not guilty on his charges. So it's kind of like, yeah, man, they pretty much threw them pretty much gave him an open card, a card with nothing in it, with this offer right here. And I was like, man, this right here is adding to the documentary that's coming out, or the movie that's coming out after this escape. I've never seen nothing like this before. We're in some different times right now. 2025, all capital C's are still in effect. Controversy, chaos, confusion, conflict, and confrontation being part of the conversation to keep the algorithm in rotation, man. They done really made their own movie at this point, and it's getting wilder and wilder. Tell me what y'all think. We got more coming, more videos, all that 1000 for Shit Show. Stay on your pivot.